We think we have a pretty good handle on how love starts. We picture this big, dramatic moment, right? But what if, for men, falling in love is, well, it's quieter? What if it's more like a silent architecture being built inside, piece by piece, where no one can even see it happening? And right away, that challenges this huge myth we all have that men fall in love with their eyes. But what we're going to unpack here suggests the real story is so much deeper, happening far, far below the surface. So, what in the world is this silent architecture? Well, it's this fascinating mix of brain chemistry, subconscious needs, and these little unspoken tests. So let's do that. Let's peel back the layers and see how a man's heart and his mind actually connect. Okay, let's start at the very foundation. And this isn't like in the movies. For a man, love doesn't spark in some perfect grand moment. It begins quietly. It begins in the moments where he feels emotionally safe enough to be completely imperfect with you. And this is where you see the first real signal that love is taking root. It's this massive shift from just, enjoying your company to actually needing your essence. Your presence feels like warmth, and suddenly your absence just feels heavy. That is the very first silent clue. That feeling of safety, it kicks off a full-blown neurochemical event. You could almost call it a silent war inside his brain. This conflict between his biological drive to connect and this really deep-seated fear of being vulnerable. And the crazy part is, it's a battle he might not even know he's fighting. First up on the battlefield is dopamine. This is the reward chemical. As he starts to fall for you, his brain gets this hit of it just from thinking about you. And this creates a super powerful association. You equal pleasure. It's basically a neurological craving, almost like an addiction. But look, a dopamine thrill, that's not love. That's where oxytocin comes in. This is the bonding hormone, and it is all about trust. The more emotionally safe he feels with you, his brain releases more oxytocin. And this is the critical stuff that shifts his focus from just physical desire to a real need for a deep emotional connection. But then there's a counterattack. At the exact same time, his brain's fear center, the amygdala, is going on high alert. To the amygdala, love means vulnerability, and vulnerability feels like a huge risk. This chemical clash is exactly why he might suddenly pull away. It's not from a lack of caring, it's from this powerful primal instinct to protect himself. So you can really see the internal shift that has to happen here. Initial attraction, that's the dopamine-fueled thrill ride. It's exciting. But real deep love, that's built on oxytocin and safety. It's this critical journey from seeking pleasure to seeking a connection that actually feels like coming home. Okay, so we get the brain chemistry, but why? Why does this whole process ignite for one person and not another? Well, the answer is in these specific emotional triggers, these unspoken needs that just have to be met. The real fire isn't lit by the surface level stuff. It's lit when he has that feeling of being understood without having to lay out a whole roadmap of his feelings. It's when he feels respected for who he is at his core, not just for what he achieves. It's when he feels free inside the connection, not trapped by it. And maybe most importantly, it's when he can anchor himself in your calm, consistent energy. That signals to his entire nervous system, this is a safe place. I mean, think about it. In a world that so often judges men on their performance, on their strength, the experience of being emotionally seen for his potential, for his doubts, for his true self, that is incredibly rare. And that rarity, that's what makes it so magnetic. And this leads us to a really crucial phase, the unspoken safety tests. Now, before he can fully commit, his subconscious is going to run a few checks. And let's be crystal clear about this. This is not some malicious game. It's an instinctual search for an answer to one single question. Is it truly safe for me to let my guard down here? So what does this actually look like? Well, first there's the reactivity test. He might pull back a little just to see if you'll panic or chase him or try to fix him. Then there's the space test. He creates a bit of distance and he's subconsciously checking to see if your energy stays calm and secure. And finally, the authenticity test. He's sensing if you're showing him your true self or just a version of you that you think he wants to see. At the end of the day, all of these subconscious checks are really just looking for one thing. And this quote sums it up perfectly. He is not looking for perfection. He's looking for a safe harbor. That one person with whom he can finally drop the mask and be completely, vulnerably himself. So what happens once he feels that safety? once he makes that deep internal commitment? Well, how he shows it might still be quiet. It's rarely through these grand declarations. It's shown through consistent actions, and those actions become his true silent language. And this is such a critical distinction. Lust is loud. It's often selfish. It's about taking. But the kind of love we're talking about, it's much quieter. It's generous. It's about giving. And it is not a flash in the pan. It's revealed slowly, over time, through things he does.
So what are these silent actions? Look for these signs. He starts to prioritize you, not in some big, showy way, but just quietly, in his choices. He remembers the small details, things you mentioned weeks ago, which shows he's actually listening. He becomes protective in a way that feels like care, not control. You'll start to hear the word "we" slip into his plans for the future. And you'll just feel it. His whole energy just softens when you're around. That's his armor coming down.
So if you're going to remember one thing from all of this, let it be this. A man's love is built on a foundation of consistency and emotional safety. His quietness, his need for space, it is not always a sign of rejection. More often than not, it's a sign that he is busy building that silent architecture of trust. And that leaves us with a final, powerful thought. Now that you understand this silent architecture, you kind of have the tools to translate his silence. If you stop looking for the big fairy tale declarations and you start paying close attention to his actions, what is he really telling you?